Hello there and welcome to Discourse on Global Television. I am your host, Priscilla Obasi. Today, we focus our attention on a recent incident, a happening incident. As a matter of fact, an incident that occurred today. And this incident has sparked diplomatic tension. It has heightened regional anxiety and raised important questions about the security of West African airspace. A Nigerian military aircraft reportedly entered Burkina Faso's airspace and was detained. The soldiers on board were also held for questioning. The incident now is referred to as an airspace breach, and it has triggered conversations around military protocol, sovereignty, and regional trust, and above all, national security preparedness. The question is, what happened? Why did this happen? And what does this actually mean for Nigeria's security architecture and the safety of citizens? To break this down, we're joined with one of the country's foremost security and intelligence minds, and we're talking about Dr. Yahuza Getso. You're welcome, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Good afternoon, viewers. Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure to have you, sir.
Pleasure is mine.
Always a pleasure to have you, sir. So we'll kick in to the discussion proper after this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is Discourse on Global Television. Today we're talking about the recent happening in Burkina Faso. We're talking about airspace breach and national security, Burkina Faso and the crisis of the military airspace security. And we are joined, before we went on that break, we introduced our guest, Dr. Yahuza Getso. He's a security intelligence and investigation expert. He's also a consultant on difficult terrain crimes. Once more, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. So let's just go straight to the conversation. For clarity, can you walk us through what we know so far about Nigerian military aircraft that landed in Burkina Faso?
Well, I think the basic things we should start looking into is why the airspace.
Okay.
And why the Nigerian military, was a Air Force, was a Navy, was a Army, or whosoever they may be. Now, airspace is an integral part of territory of any given society, any given environment, any given state, any given political tool as far as geography is concerned. You can see the airspace of Nigeria, the airspace of Niger, the airspace of Mali, the airspace of the case study, that is the Burkinabe, the airspace of Benin, and the airspace of Kano or FCT, and so on and so forth. So in this regard, each of the airspace, the borderlines of each sovereign environment entails that of the land space, the marine space or the water space, and the airspace. So this land, air, and marine are spaces which are necessary for each and every sovereign environment to be responsible for, to be managing, to undergo study, and to undergo monitoring and overview, and then have a total control. The control in terms of what happens, when, why, and how, and by who. It is clear and obvious that whenever you have anything to do with that, it forms part of the control. Part of the control in the sense that Airspace Management Agency, we have the NCCA, National Civil Aviation Agency, and we have many other agencies who are responsible for manning, who are under the auspice of monitoring and evaluation and overseeing by the Minister of Aviation and also by the experts on aviation and Federal Airport Authority and the rest of them. So all this NIMET, NCCA, as well as NAMA, National Airspace Agency, and then the Federal Airport Authority, and so on and so forth, under the auspice, supervision and monitoring of the Minister of Aviation. However, the Nigerian Air Force or the Nigerian Air Force or the Burkinabe Air Force or American Air Force or Israeli Air Force or any other Air Force are provided with adequate training on airspace management, airspace war, airspace surveillance, airspace monitoring, airspace review, space observations, and so on and so forth. So it's in due course. During, sometimes there are a number of protocols being used in manning the airspace. There may be technological, simple technological advancement, technological tools. There are advanced technological tools, and there are routers that are fixed based on certain conditions and agreements. And also, even other multinational corporations use the airspace of any given country based on a memorandum of understanding or development objective that has been agreed upon, on which to use the airspace of certain institution or country. So now, looking at this issue, the countries of ECOWAS, that is Economic Community of West African countries, they are responsible as part of the charters and clauses that provided the existence of ECOWAS or the agreement of ECOWAS as enshrined in the constitution or whatever development objective or memorandum of understanding that establishes the ECOWAS, form part of the agreement and control of the West African sub-region, the airspace. And likewise the African Union and also the United Nations. There are agreements and objectives and agreed clauses, and for which if those agreements are breached by either of the country, if American flight is coming to Nigeria, there must be a communication. And that communication streamline why that airline from America is using the Nigerian airspace. Even if the president of Nigeria is traveling to the US or wherever, the routes, those who are managing the routes between Nigeria down to the US, must have information, must know that a president of Nigeria is moving. And at the same time, if there is an agreement, and they know that so flight is coming around, and if for any reason a breach of trust, a breach of confidence, or anything happened, the airspace management of that institution, of that environment, will be held liable and accountable for whatever happened. So now, I came to your question. Why Nigerian flying, right? If I'm right.
Yes. The question is, what actually asked you to walk us through what we know.
Yes, which I have done so. Yeah.
That landed in Now let's go to the second one. In security terms, what qualifies as an airspace breach?
I think I have discussed almost part of the question.
Yes, you have.
However, let me elaborate further. What's really called as a security breach is one, in a situation whereby maybe Nigerian Air Force, if they are crossing beyond Nigeria's airspace territory, there must be a communication with either Nigerian, with either Burkinabe, with either Benin, Equatorial Guinea, Togo, Chad, Cameroon, and the rest of it. So, you know, Air Force is an integral part of the security formation. So, and there will be no reason why an ordinary plane, not even an army or military plane, can cross to any environment, any airspace of any of the other nation without consenting and informing why it is passing through. And there must be an agreement. If there is a coup in Guinea-Bissau or coup in anywhere, and the only route for the Nigerian Air Force or Nigerian military to go is only by using the Burkinabe airspace, there must be a consent, which is form part of the diplomatic communication. That is why we have what is called security attaché. In any of the diplomatic offices that we have military attaché, we have immigration attaché, and so on and so forth. So those security form part of the security diplomatic team, which are in any of the country, are responsible for providing necessary information to have a linkage. And then between airspace managers, between the NAMET, between the NCA, between the any other institution that is responsible for managing the aviation of Nigeria, there is international aviation rules. There is international airspace utilization use. So there must be a procedure. And breaching into any of those procedure or protocol is what is called airspace security breach.
Okay. Now, personally, this is a question that I have wondered on. Nigeria recently declined. Let's not say declined, but the U.S. made efforts, or they made a gesture to come intervene in our security matters, and we saw the way a lot of people repelled to it, even in the government. They were not welcoming per se. So, how come? Why are we now quick to, I know we want to rescue our brothers, but why didn't we go through the due process? Is it that, because they say what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So why are we seeing all of this play out?
In the first instance is the negligence. Because if our leaders were serious and they have done what the Constitution enshrined or asks them to do, which is protecting the life and property, which is a primary responsibility of the government. In the first instance, why should the government allow itself to fail in providing security for life and property? That's the question you ask. First of all, we should ask ourselves, why do they allow that to happen? Because it is those negligence. It is a combination of many things. There is corruption, there is compromise, there is negligence, there is inability to hold people accountable and responsible for the authorities given to them, and there is inability, there is issue of failure of our system in the executive, in the legislature, as well as the judiciary. Our judiciary is in absolute mess. So until those are part of the ingredients, and then we allow communal clashes, tribal clashes, geographical clashes, as well as many other bigotries that led us to a kind of confusion and to where we are. And then at the same time, also we breeded criminality over time. Right since independence, almost we can say up till today, we have been working towards breeding criminality as a result of unmeritable recruitment of our security personnel, inability to manage our borders, a lack of synchronization activities between the Nigerian border and the other neighborhood, inability to build coherent and comprehensive border management tools, inability to have available surveillance that could have been utilized in manning some of the areas. More of ungoverned spaces are being created rather than having more of closing the ungoverned spaces.
Yes, sir.
Most of the governments tend to be irresponsible, not really responsible. And many of the politicians are politicizing the security situation. Many of the politicians are taking advantage on security, on insecurity challenges that we have, so that they can sit and on their seat for a longer time, forgetting and not really minding the number of people losing their lives, the number of women that are being raped, the number of household heads that are being assassinated and killed, the number of old age that are dying as a result of high blood pressure and tension, among other things, as a result of the security challenges that we have bedeviling the nation, and a lot more questions. So as a result of that, that is why we are having a very serious issue related to that. And as far as we cannot address these issues, we will never get it there. I mean, we'll never get to the right path. We'll continue to remain in confusion. The situation is going to be more complex. The insecurity is going to widen more. Non-state actors are going to have more opportunity and more chances in order to cross into our governed spaces to make it ungovernable. And more armed proliferation is going to take place. More of the armed manufacturing industries, armed dealers, armed importers, and armed traders across the globe will continue to pursue to come into Nigeria for their businesses, because it will be quite rewarding. And many people, like you and me, where I'm not praying, will find a soft land on how to get access to quick money and so on and so forth. Because this insecurity is becoming a lucrative, has become, not even is becoming, it has become a lucrative business, which is far much more better than oil business. So as far as we continue to see this, as far as we continue in this direction, as far as we continue to allow this to happen, as far as government will continue to have not to have a standard operating policy that will fight this insurgency, fight this criminality, fight this regional and political bigotry, and so on, that has been leading into so many kinds of security challenges, then we'll continue to be in mess. We'll continue to live in fear. We'll continue to be unsecured, and so on and so forth.
Okay, sir. Thank you for that, sir. So what does this incident tell us about Nigeria's military flight, protocols, intelligence, and processes? Also, real-time monitoring of air operations.
This is a time for Nigerians to know and to understand that we do things the way we want, not the way they should be. Why? Because those officers who were running that, flying that flight that has been hauled now and hanged at Bobo Dioulasso of Burkina Faso. You know, I attended about 7 trainings at Bobo Dioulasso.
Wow.
So I love the city.
Wow.
It's quite good and fantastic. It's quite a good opportunity. Wish I am part of those military. I could have allowed the Burkinabe. I could have requested them to allow me to walk around so that I can see progress and development in Bobo Dioulasso. It's quite far, about 16 hours from Ouagadougou, if you are going by road.
Wow.
Between Ouagadougou and Bobo Dioulasso.
Wow.
And there is very thick forest where you will see lions, tiger, hyena,
wow.
Big snakes on the road.
Wow.
Many a times you have to drive, the driver has to stop, because I only went to Bobo Dioulasso once by air. All the other times I went by. So what it means is that, why do we have, does that mean our military doesn't have the skills to know about those protocols? Does that mean they have not been able to have a briefing every now and then?
Okay.
Or does that mean that the issue of Nigeria refused to accept Burkina Faso, okay, Mali, and Niger? These three countries that say they have.
Let's go for a very short break right now. We'll come back to this very topic, this very question after this break. Please, viewers, stay with us.